Here's a strange thing about Claude. Most people have used it. Almost nobody has seen it. You've met the chat box. Behind that chat box, there's a desktop app, a phone app, something that clicks around your browser for you. Projects, a memory, artifacts, skills, connectors, plugins, and an entire mode where it stops answering and starts working. If you've only used the chat box, you've seen about a tenth of it. So today you get the whole map. Every part, in plain English, with the real screens. And I'll do it in the order that actually makes it stick. And to show you where this ends up, here's what a complete beginner builds by the end of this video. A working pricing calculator, described in one message, built in about a minute, published to the internet, on the free plan, with no code. We'll come back to that. First, the map. Let's start with the entire picture before any detail. There's a reason for that, and it's the most useful thing I know about learning. Claude has 3 layers. Layer 1, the doors. The ways you reach Claude. Web, desktop app, phone, a browser extension, the terminal, Microsoft Office, and a design tool. Same assistant, different entrances. Layer 2, the workspace. What's inside once you're in? The chat screen, projects, memory, and artifacts. Layer 3, the powers. What you can give it. Skills, connectors, plugins, scheduled jobs, and the 3 working modes called chat, Cowork, and Code. And here are the 8 words you'll hear all day. You don't need to understand them yet. You just need to have met them. Projects. Labeled drawers for your work. Memory. It remembers you between chats. Artifacts. Things it builds beside the conversation. Skills. Jobs you teach at once. Connectors. Your other apps, plugged in. Plugins. Boxed sets of the above. Cowork. It does the task instead of describing it. And Claude Code. It's hands on the keyboard. That's the whole product. Everything from here fills in a box you've now seen. First question. If Claude is so capable, why do so many people get bland, forgettable answers out of it? It's almost always the same cause. They're treating it like a search box. A search box takes a query and returns results. So you type 5 words, you get a generic paragraph, and you close the tab thinking it's overrated. Claude behaves like a colleague who just joined your team. Fast reader, good writer, decent with numbers, never bored, works for about $20 a month. And you don't query a colleague, you brief them. You say what you want and who it's for. You hand them the file. You answer their questions. You say closer, warmer, shorter. Here's the same request, 2 ways. Version 1. Write a product description. That gets you beige. Now version 2. Write a product description for a handmade candle shop. For buyers who care about scent more than price. Warm and short. 2 seconds more typing. Completely different result. That's the whole mental shift, and every feature in this video works better once you've made it. Quick questions. Is Claude free? Yes, and the free plan is genuinely useful. Chat on web, phone and desktop, web search, file creation, memory, 5 projects. Paid starts at $20. Do I need to know how to code? No, I can't code. That includes the part named Claude Code. Is it better than ChatGPT? They're close cousins. People pick Claude for writing that sounds human, long documents, and doing multi-step work. Use the one you'll actually open. Second question, and it's the one that stalls beginners on day 1. There are 7 ways into Claude. Which one is for you? Here they are on Anthropic's own page. Why so many? Because Claude's usefulness depends on what it can reach, and each door reaches different things. The web. Claude.ai in any browser. Nothing to install. Where most people meet Claude. The desktop app, and this is the one I'd point you at. Read what it says. Chat, Cowork, and Code in one app. Works with your files, your apps, and your browser tabs. That last part is the whole reason. The web version lives politely inside a tab. The desktop app lives on your computer, where your actual work is. Your phone, iOS and Android. For capturing a thought, asking something away from your desk, starting a job you'll review later. The Chrome extension. It navigates, clicks buttons, and fills in forms for you. An assistant that can operate a website. Claude Code. Build, debug, and ship from your terminal, your editor, the desktop app, even Slack. Microsoft 365. Claude sitting inside Excel, PowerPoint, Word, and Outlook. And Claude Design in beta. Clickable prototypes, wireframes from a sketch, slides from your documents. Here's the honest split. Chat on web, desktop, and phone is free. Claude Code, Cowork, Design, and the Office add-on need a paid plan. Use this when, starting today, use the web. Before the week's out, install the desktop app, because everything from here gets better there. Quick questions. Do I have to install anything? No. The browser version needs nothing. Does my history follow me between them? Yes. Same account, same conversations, same memory. Start on the laptop, finish on your phone. So which one really? Web today, desktop this week. You've seen this screen. Now, how many of these buttons could you actually name? There are about a dozen useful controls here. Most people use 2. Let's fix that, because 3 of them change everything. Bottom right, the model name. Sonnet 5, in this case. That's which brain you're using, and there's a chapter on it later. Beside it sits effort on medium. Effort controls how thorough Claude is on every answer. Higher is slower and more careful. And here's a tip almost nobody knows, which pays for itself. Low and medium effort stretch your usage further. Remember that energy bar from the pricing video? Effort is one of the taps feeding it. So for routine work, staying on medium literally buys you more conversations. The microphone lets you talk instead of type, which is a gift for long rambling briefs. The waveform beside it is voice mode, where Claude talks back. Bottom left, the plus button, and this is the most underused control on the screen. Behind it, add files or photos, add to a project, skills, add a connector, add plugins, and web search. Claude's entire toolbox, hidden behind a small gray plus. Under the box, the starter chips. Write, learn, code, life stuff, and Claude's choice. Each opens a menu of real prompts. Claude's choice just suggests something interesting, which is a decent cure for a blank page. The slash key. Type a / and your skills appear. Once you have a few, it's the fastest thing on this screen. Down the left, new chat, projects, artifacts, and customize, all coming up. Recents is your history, and the magnifier at the top searches every conversation you've ever had. One habit, and it's free. Add why you want the thing and who it's for. That single sentence does more for output quality than any setting on this screen. Quick questions. What does effort actually change? How thorough every answer is. Low and medium for routine work, and they stretch your usage further. High for genuinely hard problems. Medium is home base. Is effort the same as thinking? No, they're 2 separate settings. Effort is how thorough the answer is. The thinking toggle decides whether Claude shows you its reasoning first. Can Claude read my files? Yes. Drag a document, spreadsheet, PDF, or image right into the box. Here's a complaint I hear constantly. I have to explain my business to it every single time. 2 features fix that, and they fix different halves of the problem. A project is a labeled drawer. 1 per topic. 2 things live inside. Files you upload, and standing instructions for how Claude behaves in that drawer. So a project called My Newsletter holds your last 10 issues plus an instruction saying write in my voice, short paragraphs, no corporate language. Every chat started in that drawer already knows all of it. Why does this exist? Because context is the expensive part. A project pays that cost once instead of every morning. Free gives you 5 projects, which is plenty to begin. Paid makes them unlimited. 1 trap, and it catches everybody. Separate chats inside a project don't automatically know what happened in each other. If a detail matters across all of them, it belongs in the project's files or instructions. Memory is the other half. There's a switch called Generate Memory from Chats. Turn it on, and Claude quietly keeps useful facts about how you work, your business, your preferences, your dog's name. And here's the detail that confuses more beginners than anything else in this video, so I'm going to be very clear about it. Memory is kept in separate compartments. Anthropic's words. Each project has its own separate memory space, kept separate from other projects and from your non-project chats. So if you teach Claude about your business inside a project, then open a fresh chat outside that project and ask what it knows, it will tell you it knows nothing. That isn't a bug, and it isn't broken. You're standing in a different room. I know this because it happened to me while filming this video, and I'll show you at the end. There's also an import button. If you spend a year training a different AI about your life, you can bring that across instead of starting over. And you stay in control. Switching memory off offers 2 choices. Pause, which keeps what it knows and stops adding, or delete, which wipes everything. Quick questions, project or just a chat? One-off question, chat. Anything weekly, project. Why does it forget things I definitely told it? 9 times out of 10 you told it inside a project, and you're now asking outside that project. Separate memory spaces. Go back into the project and ask again. Can I delete what it knows? All of it, anytime. Now the feature that makes people sit forward. If you ask Claude to build you a calculator, where does the calculator go? It can't live in a chat bubble. It opens a second panel beside the conversation and builds it there. That panel is an artifact, a document, a working calculator, a chart, a web page, a quiz, a tracker, something you can click. Watch what's actually happening. Conversation on the left, a real thing assembling itself on the right. Say make the heading bigger, or add a column for dates, and it updates in place. And it leaves. On Free, Pro, and Max you can publish an artifact as a public link, or grab embed code and drop it into a website. Why does this exist? Because Tell Me How to Build a Budget Tracker, and Here Is Your Budget Tracker, are very different products. Only one of them saves you an afternoon. Use this when you catch yourself about to ask for instructions. Ask for the thing instead. Quick questions. What can it build? Documents, trackers, charts, quizzes, landing pages, small apps. Can I share it? Publish it, send the link, or embed it in a website. Biggest point of confusion in the entire product, so here it is in 3 sentences. Chat is a conversation. You ask, it answers, you copy what you need. Everything so far has been chat. Cowork is handing over the job. In chat, Claude tells you how. In Cowork, Claude does it. It works directly in folders you choose, so it opens your files, edits them, creates new ones, and gives you finished work back. Anthropic's own examples. Building a weekly metrics deck from campaign data, preparing a meeting brief from your email and calendar, organizing a pile of documents, and flagging what's missing. The difference in one line. Chat is asking a colleague for advice. Cowork is giving them the work. Cowork needs a paid plan, and it eats your usage faster than chat because it's doing far more. It runs best on the desktop app where your files live. Code is its hands on the keyboard. The deepest mode. It builds and fixes real software, and it lives in your terminal, your editor, the desktop app, even Slack. Also paid. And the thing beginners need to hear. I don't write code, and Claude Code is the tool I use most. You describe what you want, it plans, it builds, it shows you what changed. Use this when stay in chat for a fortnight. You'll physically feel the moment you want Cowork, and that's the honest signal to upgrade. Quick questions. Do I need Cowork on day 1? No. You'll know when. Is code only for programmers? No. The name is the worst thing about it. Will it change my files without asking? It asks first and shows you what it did. You choose the folders it may touch. These 3 get mixed up more than anything else in Claude, and they're where it stops being generic and starts being yours. 1 sentence each, then the screens. Skills teach Claude a job. A skill is a set of instructions it picks up when relevant. Anthropic ships some built-in for Excel, Word, PowerPoint, and PDFs, and it just uses those automatically. The good part, you add your own. Any task you do the same way every week, you hand over the recipe once, and after that it knows. There's a browse button for ready-made ones, and skills work on every plan, free included. Connectors plug in your other apps. Gmail, Google Drive, Calendar, Slack, Notion, Canva, Figma, plenty more. Once connected, Claude searches your documents or checks your calendar without you copying anything across. 2 safety facts, both from Anthropic directly. First, Claude inherits your permissions. If you can't open a file at work, Claude can't reach it either. Second, their words. Only connect services you trust and need for your workflows. You'll see the letters MCP, Model Context Protocol. For your purposes, it means one thing. It's the standard plug shape, which is why so many apps can connect without anyone building something custom each time. You may now forget the acronym. Plugins are boxed sets. Someone packaged skills and tools for a whole job, and you install it in one click. This one manages tasks, plans your day, and keeps context in sync with your calendar and email. So, skills teach it, Connectors plug it in. Plugins are a box set of both. Use this when Week 2. Connect one low-stakes app. Calendar is the usual gateway drug. That's the moment most people say, oh. Quick questions. Is it safe to connect my email? The guardrail is real. Claude only sees what your own account can see. Start with Calendar and see how it feels. Is it safe to install someone else's? Treat it like any app install. Anthropic verifies its own and its partners. For custom ones, their words. Only connect to servers from trusted organizations. If you don't know who made it, don't. Why isn't my skill doing anything? Skills need code execution switched on to run. It's in capabilities, and it's the first thing to check. Short chapter, and it's the least known thing in this whole video. Can it work when you're not there? Claude can run on a schedule. You describe a job once, say when it should happen, and it goes and does it and reports back. A morning briefing on your industry. A weekly report pulled from your connected tools. Competitor research that tracks itself. You'll find it in Cowork, under Scheduled in the left sidebar. And you can either fill in the details yourself or just let Claude walk you through setting it up, which is the friendlier route. Being straight with you, this one needs a paid plan. Why it matters. This is where the tool stops feeling like software and starts feeling like staff. Use this when pick the thing you do every Monday that you slightly resent. That's always the right first automation. Quick question. Does my computer need to be on? For scheduled tasks in Cowork, no. They run remotely, so they keep their cadence while your laptop's asleep. There are dozens of settings. 5 matter today, and I'll tell you to ignore the rest, which is the more useful half of this chapter. 1. Instructions for Claude. A standing note about you and how you like to be spoken to. 2 lines here improves every future conversation. 2. Privacy, where you control whether your conversations help improve future models. And this is worth 30 seconds of your life, because the setting does something most people don't realize. It changes how long your chats are kept. Leave it on, and the retention window is 5 years. Switch it off, and it drops to 30 days. Same button, very different footprint. Go and make that choice on purpose. 3. Capabilities. Switches for artifacts, inline charts, and letting Claude run code and create files. Mostly on already. Worth knowing they exist so you can spot when one is off. 4. Memory. Covered. Generate, import, pause, delete. And 5. Comfort. Font, motion, and the voice options. Language, style, speed. There's a voice style called buttery. I refuse to explain it. Go and listen. Everything else is billing, teams, or developer territory. Genuinely ignore it until it matters. Quick questions. How do I stop my chats being used for training? Privacy 1 visit. And it shortens retention from 5 years to 30 days. What is Reflect? A monthly recap. The topics you spent time on, your most active day, your peak hour, and observations about how you work. 1 catch. It only works if memory is switched on. What's time and focus? Break reminders and quiet hours. A surprisingly kind little feature for something buried in a settings menu. Last piece. And it's the one people overthink hardest. For names in that drop-down, does picking right actually matter? Different models are different brains. Same assistant, different balance of speed and depth. Sonnet is the everyday one. Fast, smart, the default for good reason. Opus is the heavyweight. Slower, deeper, for genuinely hard problems. Haiku is the sprinter. Quick and light. And Fable is the newer creative one. Some need a paid plan. There's also a more models list holding older versions, kept for people who built something on one and want it to stay put. My actual answer to the question, no, it barely matters at first. Leave it on the default. If an answer feels shallow on something hard, switch up to Opus for that one conversation. That is the entire skill. Quick questions. Which model should I pick? The default. Revisit in a month. Does the wrong one cost me more? On a subscription, you don't pay per message. Bigger models use your allowance faster, that's all. You've seen the parts. Can a total beginner actually turn them into something real? Here's the whole thing, start to finish, on the free plan. 5 steps, and you've met all of them already. 1. Tell Claude who you are. 2. Switch memory on. 3. Make a project. 4. Ask properly. 5. Publish what it builds. That's it. Watch how ordinary it looks. 2 minutes of setup first. Instructions for Claude. I run a small handmade candle business. I am not technical. Give me short practical answers and always tell me the next step. Then memory, switched on. Now a project. Candle shop. And inside it, the standing instructions. We sell hand-poured soy candles. Customers care about scent and story more than price. Keep everything warm and plain English. Then the ask. And watch how it's phrased, because this is that habit from earlier. It says what she wants, why she wants it, and who it's for. I keep guessing at my prices. Build me a calculator. Here's what I want to type in. Make it simple enough to use on my phone. And then you just watch. There it is. A pricing calculator, built to order, sitting beside the conversation. And it's real. Type in what the wax costs, the wick, the jar, your hours, the margin you want, and it works out your price and your profit. One sentence changes it. Add a line showing the total cost of making 50 of these. Done, and it lands right under profit per candle. Then publish. Now it isn't trapped in a chat anymore. It's a real page on the internet with its own link, still calculating, that she could send to anybody. And one last thing, which I promised you earlier. She opened a brand new chat outside the project and asked, what do you know about my business? It said, search memory, found no prior business information. This looks like our first conversation about it. Nothing was broken. Everything she taught it lived inside the candle shop project, in that project's own memory space. She'd walked into a different room and asked a stranger. That's project memory, working exactly as designed. And notice what it didn't do. It didn't invent a candle business to please her. It said plainly that it didn't know and asked for what it needed. Everything you just watched was on the free plan, and none of it needed a single line of code. So, what to do today, in about 10 minutes. Minutes 1 to 3. Go to Claude.ai and ask it something real from your actual work. Not a test question, a real one. Minutes 3 to 6. Open settings and write your instructions for Claude. Who you are, what you do, how you like to be spoken to. 2 lines. Minutes 6 to 10. Make one project for whatever you work on most and drop a couple of files in it. Then install the desktop app for tomorrow. The one habit that makes every single feature in this video work better. Talk to it like a person and tell it why. The people getting extraordinary results aren't using secret prompts. They're briefing properly. One honest note. Claude ships new things constantly, so this guide is dated on screen and in the description. The shape holds. Individual buttons will move. Next time we stop explaining and start doing. Real demos, real business work, start to finish, nothing cut out. If this saved you a week of poking around, subscribe. And tell me in the comments which part you had no idea existed. I read every one.